I love this purple thing. This is so cool. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming back, for being here. I'd like to say a special shout out and thank you to Ethan from Ethan XYZ Photos. He did the wonderful pictures for my upcoming Solution Tree book. And he is helping me. He said, you've got great content, but I think we can get a little more out. So I absolutely love him. He came over and did this whole consulting bit, and I've learned so much in the last hour. It's amazing. So I got to be the learner and not the teacher. So I love that part. Please follow him on Instagram. Again, it's Ethan XYZ Photos. Ethan, if you listen, well, you're listening, you're right here, huh? Go ahead and drop your Instagram in so that anybody who is looking at this very, very cool lighting effect, if you see behind me, it's kind of purple. Isn't that cute? So yeah, go ahead and follow him on Instagram. He's got some great pictures, some of them of Swiss Chris on bass. So, all right. Yes, I have my hair. Actually, this is my anime hair. It's kind of for my students. It's called Spaceballs, as I understand it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. The last couple of weeks have been a little rough. Been watching the trial. Actually, I have not been watching it. I've been reading the highlights and watching some of the clips, but I don't have time during the day, first of all. But even if I did, I find it heart-wrenching. I can't quite get myself to watch. And the phrase I keep going back to is when he said, he's a sizable guy, we got to control him. And it wasn't about, it seemed to me, that seems to me a statement based in fear. He's sizable, I got to control him. And that over 9 minutes ended up, well, that ended George Floyd's life. And there are students who are in your classrooms who may be watching the trial or going home and hearing mom and dad talk about the trial. There are coworkers who are with you who may be a little less than jovial this week because that weighs on the Black community. If you are seeing these kinds of things happen over and over, and you're seeing the death of Breonna Taylor, a Tamir Rice, a George Floyd, it's worrying. And as a Black mama of a son of someone who's now just another Black male average height in a hoodie, that makes me afraid. And so I want to help you learn how to better talk to your students because maybe they're feeling some of those same things. And there are some things that you can say. I do not expect everyone to go into a classroom and wave the Black Lives Matter flag. That's not what I'm expecting. And we are all on a journey. I understand that. I'm hoping that you can understand my mama's heart and that you can say, I've been watching the trial. I'm so sad that happened to George Floyd and that his family has to go on without him. Or you can say, there are too many of these trials. I hope that we can be better as a country. You can say, you matter to me. I hope you know that. Those are the kinds of things that you can say if you are leaning towards the All Lives Matter side. And let's be clear, we have Black Lives Matter teachers in our classrooms, we have All Lives Matter teachers in our classrooms, and we have people who are everywhere in between. We've got to get to a space, though, where we service our families in the way that shows that we are empathetic to what they're feeling, whether or not we understand it. So I hope that you will not be silent in your classrooms. If you look at the resources, these resources connect to every single content, and also just be open to questions, be open to conversations. There's one in the first strategy from Learning for Justice. It used to be Teaching Tolerance. There's one that's called Silent Dialogue. And I hope that you will consider looking at those resources. All right, if you've got 20 to 30 minutes, read this Learning for Justice article with content supports for students and for student conversations. Again, I'm really fond of that silent dialogue because it can be really helpful if you and your class espouse diverse perspectives. Before you begin, evaluate your own feelings and Decide how you can support students who might be experiencing emotional fallout from the trial. 15 to 20 minutes using the above article, plan lessons or choose and practice appropriate responses to questions that might come up in class. There is nothing wrong with you as a teacher talking to yourself in the mirror so that you can get comfortable with a response that makes you uncomfortable as a larger part of a conversation. Saying we're not discussing that, that's just not an appropriate response, especially if you have students who might not have anywhere else to talk about their feelings. If you've got 10 to 15 minutes, examine the statistics on mapping police violence. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see that something needs fixing until we compare it to something that's working. Did you know, for example, that according to a 2019 Statista report, U.S. police kill citizens three to four times more than in comparable democratic countries like in Canada and Australia? That's something to think about. If you have 5 to 10 minutes, consider ordering a copy of my Cherry Lake Trade Book for Middles, What is the Black Lives Matter Movement, to read contextual information on how there came to be a need for such a movement and how the Black community grieves at times like these. I know that Black Lives Matter is sensitive, but if you know what it really means Black Lives Matter too. Hey, don't forget about us. We're hurting. And so I'm hoping you can understand it in the spirit that it was conceived. Finally, if you have 0 to 5 minutes, listen to the Small Bites Lagniappe I did earlier this week wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a good 3-minute listen, and it gives you a few more strategies about how not to be silent, how to talk to your students during this trial. The last thing I'd like to say is a little bit a little bit from the blog that I wrote. And it says, showing up with a Teachers for Black Lives Matter t-shirt is not the goal line. That's so important to know. There's no race to be the most vocal activist on your campus, woke or wokest. Your support can be loud and visible or quiet but unmistakable. Just don't look the other way. Say, I've been watching the trial. I'm so sad this happened. Say, there are too many of these trials. I hope we can be better. And say, you matter to me. Thank you for coming back each week. Please subscribe, share with your friends. Make sure that you let people know that Small Bites is happening. And if you have any questions, please reach out on Twitter, on Instagram, maybe Facebook, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you that way. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you all next week. How do you eat an elephant? One small bite at a time. Thank you.